What's up, guys? It's Wayne from Whiskey Sierra Modding. So this is the Q&A video I've been meaning to do forever, just haven't got around to it. It's been busy with real world things, I guess you want to say. Anyway, if y'all like content like this, let me know. We'll keep doing this. If you want to ask anything on this one or in this video in the comments below, feel free to do that. I had this idea because it seems like everybody has a modding page these days, but nobody really knows who the modders are. So this is kind of like a good opportunity for you guys to actually interact with us and it feel more personal, I guess, more like you're talking to a real human and not just a XYZ modding on Facebook. So anyway, let's get to it. I'm not going to mention last names, but I'll just mention first names and reply to these questions. And the post that I had on my Facebook page, I only got seven comments on that, so we'll just work with it. Nitro Mods and Edits wants to know how you make custom spec maps. Pretty much the best way to do that is to use Substance Painter. Substance Painter, and you have to have the Giants plugins, which is just for the shader masks, dirt, and wire and all that stuff. There's a way to actually use Substance Painter and use those shader masks and actually paint on the dirt and paint on the wire. I'm still pretty new to making custom spec maps, so I just use whatever the default dirt and wire is. Like the last 2 mods that I released, well, the two Kenworth trucks that I did, the T680 and the T660, both of those have custom wire maps, dirt and wire maps. Mainly, you have to buy a Substance Painter, you have to have a Blender, and you have to have the plugins for Substance Painter for it to work. And then you export the actual model that you want the dirt and wire maps on. So say, for instance, like, well, I have a truck pulled in Blender. Say you want to take this truck, select the whole thing, go into edit mode and UV unwrap it like you were getting ready to UDIM it, which is just to have an edit mode, smart UV project, and then 0.03, and just leave it unwrapped. Don't do anything else. And then export it as an FBX by selection, and then load it into Substance Painter, and then apply the Giants, or excuse me, then you bake all the textures, which gives you an AO bake, a specular, normal, and all that stuff, which most of the time you don't use normals that come out of Substance Painter unless you're actually making your own normal maps, and that's still way above my pay grade. I'm still learning as I go with that. But so you bake your textures in that way. I bake them in 10 by 24 or 1024 by 1024, because you can go all the way up to like 4K pretty much. I don't go that high because it makes the file sizes huge. Of course, you're going to mess with them in Paint.net later on and resize them and make them DXT file, I believe it is. You export them as. But anyway, you bake your textures, and then you apply your Giants shader masks and all that. You export the textures. So that's kind of down and dirty how you do that in a nutshell. Okay. On to the next one here. Simon asks, have you ever considered trying your skills at other tractor brands that are not commonly modded? I would consider C&H products and Ford tractors, not commonly modded. But maybe you're talking about Massey or something like that. I had actually thought about it. I actually purchased a Massey Ferguson model, and I was going to use it to make the Global Series with. I had plans of, putting that out for all platforms. And that was until I found that Giants does not prefer paid models on the Mod Hub. Even though there are paid models on the Mod Hub, but that's a discussion for another day. All right. Commonly modded. That's a tough one because everybody mods John Deere. If somebody's making a tractor, especially old tractors, everybody makes the old John Deeres. Like there's a ton of them out there. New John Deeres, there's a ton of new John Deeres. Case is honestly between KMN, Carl Farms, me, Custom to a point, any NEFG modding. Those guys have a ton of red paint. I like to focus on stuff that hasn't been done. Like there's been T6s, T8s, the Steiger series, both the old and the new. I focused on stuff that hasn't been done. Like I did a T5. I did the CR1090 combine, New Holland combine, because there was no American combine that was on the official Mod Hub that wasn't either a John Deere or Case. So I did the New Holland combine. Like I said, the New Holland T5, mainly because I've always wanted an American spec T5 for the game. Since I started playing the game, and there's been a couple of edits out there, but they weren't really that good. The Maxim is another one I'm working on right now. The new body style. As far as like American or not commonly done brands, I guess I do not commonly done tractors. So I focus on stuff that hasn't been done yet. Nobody's done an American spec Maxim. Now whether it makes it on the official Mod Hub or not, it's another story. I also did a Puma, an American style Puma. Let's see. Jordan commented, how do I take something like this and put it in game? YouTube isn't that helpful. He has a picture of a Alice Chandler's 190 from Polygonish. I actually have a video on this channel that talks about working with models and what you need to get started and how to get started in that. I never got so far as making the video yet about actually in gaming a mod, like how I do one. I wanted to actually do something like that, like a Polygonish tractor. That was pretty easy to do. They're actually pretty easy models to work with. In my opinion, probably the easiest ones to work with. That's why there's a lot of equipment out there that is based on Polygon models. But my videos is kind of basics, how to get started in Blender, how to separate raw materials and parts and things like that. Basic UDIM and what have you. But obviously you got to purchase the model. I mean, that's obviously self-explanatory. You take it, import the model into Blender as an OBJ, and then all poly models have ground planes, just standard default ground planes. I delete those. Some people use them for renders, because you can put different things on it, but I just delete it. You separate by materials. Then, it depends on what version of Blender you work with. I work with 2.9. I hate 2.7.9. I don't work with that. I work with the latest version, which I have it through Steam. Blender it's free. It's available through the Steam Workshop, or not Workshop, but the Steam library. and it updates automatically through Steam, so you don't have to constantly download new updates, which is why a lot of people are still on 2.79 and it's 2021. There's a little box up at the top, a select box. So say like you want to separate parts, like you want to separate the decals from the rest of the tractor, because those are going to be completely separate, and it's going to be two different materials, which means it's going to be the white material is the backing for the decal, and the black material is the lettering. So you want to separate those two and UDIM them separately, or delete them all together and make your own with paint.net and pictures of decals. Like if you want to do it that way, save on poly count, which they're low poly anyway, so you're really not going to have that issue. And I just work with them. Obviously, you'll need to download Giants Editor. You'll have to have an account on Giants Software website and download Giants Editor. And you have to have the plugins for Blender, the exporter, the Giants i3D exporter, and the Giants Material Library, which is for UDIM. So you'll have to have all that. But then you can texture the model, join parts that need to be joined back together, set everything up for animations like the rear 3-point hitch or whatever. As far as in gaming, I would take something like the Fiat 1300. And as far as in gaming, export, basically get rid of the meshes, like get rid of the body and all that stuff. Export that whole i3D as a separate i3D, named whatever you want to name it, and then import your model into that i3D and add back in everything you need to add in for the tractor itself. And it sounds kind of convoluted. That's kind of how I in-game. I'm working on the 49X Western Star right now, so it's not an easy one to do a tutorial on. Like I said, I need to do one. But I'll basically start with the i3D of another mod or another tractor, and I'll use that as a template. And you'll need the mod desk. You can just pull it from any other mod. It doesn't really matter. There's nothing copyrighted, or you're not stealing anything by using somebody else's mod desk. And then you can just delete everything that you need to delete and replace it or whatever with what is going to be relevant information, like say Alice Chandler's 190 instead of Fiat 1300 DT, whatever. And you'll need the actual main XML for the for that particular piece of equipment, and that's just for basically your animations and everything are set up there, your wheels, all that stuff. That's where all that's at. And you'll have to just go back through and replace some of the parts that are named, like the wheels and whatever else. You have to replace those with the index paths of where everything's showing up in the i3D. Sounds a little bit convoluted. That might honestly be a good project. I could take a bare model just like that and one day just sit down and actually go from Blender to the game. Like I said, they're fairly easy to work with. Anyway, so hopefully that helps. If you want to, you can message me on Facebook or message me on here or whatever, and I'll help you out with it. Amino Energy, if you want to know what I'm drinking. A little bit of creatine in it. For my meathead. Anyway, a little personal. Flex there, I guess, or whatever you want to say. I don't know. Anyway. So, next question is from Cordell. Have you ever thought about making a Ford 9700 with a loader and a cab and no cab? I've done, and they were kind of basic looking back on it. They're good mods, but I did the 8600, 9600 Ford tractors, and I did the 7710, 8210 combo. It was 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive. Well, the same for the 8600, 9600, and also did just a large frame TW series. I've got plans to go back and redo those with custom dirt and wear maps, as well as new models and new features like tank mounts, things like that. So most likely I probably will. I'll probably also do the 7700 series and all that, 8000, 9000. There's a poll on my Patreon right now if you want to check that out. It's patreon.com/Whiskey Sierra Modding. Full Discord and everything is available through that. You can talk to me through Discord via our Patreon. So if you want to check that out, feel free to do it. I know there's no pressure into joining the Patreon. It's just another way to get in touch with me and keep up with everything and vote on future mods and future projects. Like right now, I started an update to the Ford tractors I did a year ago. That's on my Patreon right now, and a lot of people favoring the ideas that I have in mind for them. Are they going to be updated anytime soon? No, but I do plan on doing it pretty soon. Let's see. It really, eventually, realistically thinking, I still got plans for FS19 as long as they continue with FS19. I don't see them making a new game anytime soon, but hopefully, if they do, it won't change too much from 19. Well, I shouldn't say it shouldn't. Hopefully, it won't change too much. Hopefully, they'll keep the texturing system, but hopefully, they'll improve the graphics, the physics, the sound, the engine, just everything. I really hope they do improve a lot with that. But on the off chance that a new game comes out before I get to do that update, then, I'll do it for the next game. Trying to think if there's anything else about that. Oh, Fords in general. I do plan on doing a lot of Fords. When I first started my page, I quit working on it because I didn't really know what the hell I was doing in Blender. Outside of UDIM. Really, I even barely knew how to do that when I first started. I was working on a OpenStation 40 series, Ford, and Ford New Holland, and that was going to be one that I did, a true American 40 series from 5640 all the way up to 8340. There's a decent one on Mod Hub, but there's not really a good 40 series. Also, the small 30 series, Ford and New Holland, I wanted to do those, as well as the small frame 10 series, which I've edited MattXJS's CAD version. It's in the group, Facebook group, if you remember the group. I did an edit of it, but I actually plan on starting that myself, like from the ground up, like making my own 10 series, as well as the newer New Holland 10 series. That was also out at one time. So, still plan on making a lot of blue tractors, and we'll see where it goes. So, stay posted on that one. Sebastian asks, what made you want to start modding? I don't know. I really don't. Honest to God. Bad decisions. Really bad decisions. No, but in all seriousness, I discovered FS19 in June of 2019. It's my daughter's kitchen back there, if you're wondering what that is. But I don't play with pink toys. But I discovered FS19 in June of 2019. I wanted something different. I was playing Far Cry 5. I bought that game when it first came out. It came out on my birthday in 2018. And I put, I don't know, 4,000 hours on that game, probably. I probably beat it like 5 times. Like, in retrospect, it was a dumb game. The storyline was awful. But it was just fun. Like, it was stupid. Like, it was just, I thought the storyline was idiotic, and I thought the antagonist in the game was, like, the dumbest concept I ever heard. It was almost kind of like the Feds versus the Davidians in '93 situation. I mean, it was awful. But I was playing that game, and I was like, man, I need something different. Lego Technic, if you're wondering. Obviously, I grew up on a farm. I grew up around blue tractors, and I've been collecting. Eventually I show off my collection. I got some of it back here. As you can see, some of my wife's Harry Potter stuff. But I was like, well, fine, I'm gonna try Farming Simulator. I grew up on a farm. I love tractors. Whatever. I'll try that out. And when I first played it, I was up to I think 3 o'clock in the morning. My first night playing it. So I played it up until about I started playing it, and then I discovered that there were mods for it. I had played 18 Wheels of Steel, Pedal to the Metal from probably 2004 up to about 2014. It's about how long I played that game. It's like I'll pick a game, and I'll literally play it until I'm like, I cannot stand it anymore. Like, I played Age of Empires, like the Rise of Rome from '98, from 1999 to freaking, last year. Played it till I literally cannot even look at the game anymore without being sick of my stomach. That's just who I am. I'll pick one game and I'll stick with it forever. But anyway, so I discovered that there were mods for it, and figured out how to install them and all that stuff. And I was noticing a trend right off the bat that there was really nothing in the realm of US style mods. Like, there was the T8 that NEFG did. It was US style. There's a few John Deeres that were American style. That was really, starting out, that was really about it. Truck-wise, that's what kind of turned me on. That was another thing kind of turned me on to modding, because truck-wise, well, there were plenty of Peterbilts, but that was it. And anything else that I had noticed because I started joining groups, pretty early on, and like anything else I noticed, that there were a ton of private mods, which if you want to keep a mod private, I get it. I have nothing against people who keep mods private, because I've had issues with mods getting leaked in the past and all that shit, so I understand it, but at the time I didn't. And of course, I was never one of those guys, why is it private? Because it's like, I can't stand that person. Like, if you want to be that guy that, like, you want to flex your mods that are private or whatever, okay, don't be a dick about it. If somebody asks, well, why is it private? But at the same time, like, well, I can't believe you're going to keep that mod private. Like, that's just, anyway, that's Facebook group etiquette. That's for another day. But I was noticing that trend that, like, all the stuff that I wanted was either private or it didn't exist. So I found a couple of tutorials. I started like trying to convert mods. I thought, oh, 17 had a lot of good stuff, but that 17 sucks. Like, FS17 and FS19 are night and day, and I know a lot of people say, "Oh, well, there's no difference in them. They don't look no different." Like, yeah, they do. They actually really do. They look night and day different, and as far as like graphics are concerned, like you can't tell me that 17 looks better than 19. Like, no, it doesn't. It does not. 19 is the better looking game, I think. 19 needs some work, but 17 was all photo textures. And photo textures have been around since video games, 3D style video games, for instance, been around. So I was like, well, I'll try to figure out how to convert these. So the first mod, it was a freaking disaster, was the hay rake that's actually in the group. I tried to convert that mod to starting out, and I taught myself how to work with XML code and how to figure all that out, and started to with like just doing things like a simple wheel swap. The 60 series that's actually in my pin post on my main page I edited, 60 series New Holland, that one, that was the first mod I ever edited. So that's the only thing I did to it initially was I hid the front 3-point hitch, and then I just took a weight from, I think it was the Genesis series that was on the mod hub, and I took the front weight from that, and I just went in Giants Editor and just slapped it on the front, and took some American looking wheels from somewhere, from some mod that I found, and just threw them on there. I eventually made that mod a lot better once I figured out Blender and things like that, but that was my first. That was how I taught myself how to mod. But that was not, like, my biggest issue is why I started is like all the stuff that I wanted was either private or it just didn't exist. And the same for Freightliner. There was Expendables had the service truck and the 122 SD that had the in-game sounds, which suck, and in-game wheels, which are ugly. And the frame seemed like it was a little bit too long for that truck itself. It had a Freightliner Century interior, but that was, I mean, I used that mod. I don't use it now. I'm actually meaning to do a little edit of it, but and that's not a knock to Expendables or anything like that, because that was the first group I ever joined, and that was the first group that really got me into wanting to learn how to mod. But there was no Freightliners. There was a few Peterbilts. I grew up in the trucking industry. I don't drive now, but I grew up around it with my dad, and he always had Freightliners. Like, there was a couple times he had other brands, like he had a Volvo once and a Peterbilt, a couple Peterbilts, 386 and a 389, but mainly he was a Freightliner guy. So I had somebody, I can't remember, is it Simeon? Yeah, I think it's him. I don't want to like actually screw his name up, but he converted the Cascadia from ATS. That model, it was the ugly one. I called it the ugly duckling because it was the best that we had, I guess, to work with, but it really wasn't that great. And when I first actually managed to get it in game, it like, it was rough. Like, I used Blue Lines for 89 Pete as a template once I started to figure out how to do the whole in-gaming thing. And it didn't work. I don't know what I did, because I didn't know how to read errors and I didn't know what none of it meant. But I got in game. I went to load it up. I got in it. I couldn't get out of it. I got my little character in it, and I couldn't get out of it, and it wouldn't run. I had to teleport somewhere else on the map to actually make it work, and I never could figure out why the hell, and I still don't know to this day why the hell it didn't work. So, oh. But that was one of the first times I'd ever worked with a model. It's just, a lot of it's just a matter of just like trial and error and just trying to teach yourself how to do that. And it was I would say it's the hardest. It's definitely not the hardest thing I ever did, but it's definitely not the easiest. But I mean, I got to a point where I've pretty much every mod that I've done because I wanted to see it in the game, or I wanted to use it in the game. For instance, that's weird. For instance, I'm not trying to think of. I'm trying to think of something I can use as an example. The 352p, yeah, that's the one. That's the only one I've done so far. I've been kind of like, well, that's just cool. I haven't really seen one, so we'll do that. But most everything else, like, it's in the game because I wanted it in the game and I wanted to use it. Let's see. I guess that was all the questions. I'm gonna be at 30 minutes. Looks like a little bit longer than I thought this was gonna go. Answering 7 questions, I figured it would go on for a lot longer, but hasn't. But if there's anything you guys want to know, ask me anytime, and we'll try to do this again. I don't really have a way to stream just yet. I'm kind of working on that. I don't really have much room for a streaming card, so I guess we're gonna have to figure that out. Anyway, that's my rig. I've upgraded a little bit since the last video I did. But we'll go over that in the future whenever I get more time to start doing some more videos. Hopefully you guys like the content that you see on the page. We're on TikTok now, just at Whiskey Sierra Modding, no caps or anything like that. So check us out there. We have a Discord server. It's available through our Patreon. Let's say there is no pressure to join the Patreon. There is early access available through Discord, but it's through Discord and not through Patreon. And you don't have to pay to access those mods. Like, I know that's something else that people kind of get upset. Well, you have a Patreon, you're charging for mods. Not necessarily. If a beta of something is released in a Discord server, it's not considered paying for a mod because you're not actually paying for the finished product, like you would be if you're messaging a Facebook page for an ATS mod and you purchase that mod. Like, you're paying for that mod. You're paying that modder to give you the mod. It's not the same as like sharing early access links in a Discord server. It's just not. That's not to say that it's going to sit there for 9 months and you're not going to see it ever finished or ever released. But that's how my Discord server is set up. Obviously, too. Like, there's other people in there, and certain tiers I will do one-on-one tutoring with you if you want to learn how to make your own mods yourself. So that's our Discord's available through our Patreon, like I said. Facebook page, I think we broke 4,000. I think it was sometime last month, which I was pretty surprised that we got to 4,000 so far on the official Mod Hub, with just the two mods that I have on there now. I've got the T5 and I got the Combine. We're at close to 180,000 downloads, which is pretty cool. I know it's not like a million downloads or whatever, but for just for two mods, I think that's pretty cool. Hopefully you guys like what's on there, and of course most of those are the Combine. Everybody seems to like that Combine, but hopefully you guys like what we've released and like this content. And if you don't like something we're doing, let me know, and I'll work on it. And if you're not being a dick, if you're being reasonable, then yeah. We have a Facebook group too, Whiskey Sierra Modding Group. It's available through the sign up link or whatever is available through the Facebook page. You just have to find it, or just go to search Facebook Whiskey Sierra Modding Group and it should come up, especially if you already like the page or already follow the page. There's 3 questions. They're a little bit detailed. I know sometimes for some people they don't like to read things, and that is what it is. If something's too long, I don't like to read or whatever. It's the reason I don't like to publish novels on Facebook, because I know most people ain't gonna sit there and read the whole damn thing. But like, you do have to answer those questions honestly before you join. Because I made that group back last March because I wanted a group that was drama free, no bullshit, no idiots, drama free. And I think we've got it to a point where it's pretty good, and we don't really have that many issues. And the issues that we do have, they're gone. I mean, you get 2 chances. And if I have to keep telling you, or my wife keeps telling you, because she's also an admin, Aaron is also another admin. If we tell you more than twice, you're gone. Like, it's just it, and that's how we've handled things. And it seems to do good, and it seems to work really well. It seems to be a good system, and everybody seems happy in there, and we all have a good time. So if you want a drama-free group, our group's available. You're welcome to share your own work in that group. It's not just, I made that group, no drama, no bullshit. Share whatever you want. I have mods that I've edited, like other people's work. I don't release none of that publicly. It stays in my group, and that's as far as it goes. It never goes to the Mod Hub, it never goes to Mod Network. It stays in that group. Never sees my page. The reason I do that, and the reason why I made that group, is because I had some issues in the past with other modders that wanted to be, whatever, instead of being, especially when I was new and I didn't really know a whole lot about etiquette with it. Like, I'm not gonna mention his name, but it's the 10 series Fords that I did, the small frame. He instead of like messaging me directly, being like, hey man, you could have asked me first, and been like, oh shit, sorry dude, and fine. He wanted to cause drama on my own page, but like, I don't hold that against him. I don't care anymore. Whatever, it's been over a year ago, almost a year ago at this point. So that's the reason why I made that group, is so I can share the edits that I want to do to stuff that's already out. And the same reason that people share links in there, Aaron's done a lot of edits to public mods and made them 15 times better, because sometimes that happens. I mean, I've had people edit my work. I don't get butthurt over it. There's a really good edit out there. It's a private edit of my Docker B trains, and it's a really good edit. But anyway, you want a drama-free group, our group's good to go. I can't think of anything else, so like and subscribe. Hopefully there'll be more content in the future, and I'll catch you guys next time.